Now, the changes announced by Brazil's president is the latest attempt to end days of nationwide protests. The demonstrations began over transport fare rises in Sao Paulo, but they quickly grew into rallies across the country. People protested against high government spending, widespread corruption, and the high price of staging next year's Football World Cup.
This sit-down protest, one of many in Rio de Janeiro and across Brazil. As riots and protests continue, the country's President Dilma Rousseff has condemned the violence, pledging to keep order on the streets, but says she will listen.
Brazilians, we need to oxygenate our political system, find mechanisms that make our institutions more transparent, more resistant to misdeeds, and above all, more open to influence from society. It is the citizens and not the economic power that should be heard first.
However, many say the president's speech will do little to calm the protests.
I think people have been asleep the past 20 years, and this was the time to demonstrate, to try and demand something more. If we have the money to build nice stadiums, we have the money for health and education.
Despite the past week's unrest, Rousseff generally remains popular among Brazilians. Many of those protesting from the country's middle class who benefited from Brazil's recent economic boom. They're not targeting individual politicians, but are more upset about paying high taxes for below-standard public services.
This video from Rio was posted on Facebook. It shows what activists consider to be rough treatment by police. The head of military police said they reacted as any force would anywhere else in the world. Vandals were leaving a trail of destruction across the city, he said. If the military police hadn't taken action, things would have been a lot worse. There were infiltrators among an otherwise peaceful crowd.
These girls from Ipanema were chanting, "We don't want the World Cup. The people have decided." That's how bad things have got in football-loving Brazil.
We're protesting against the corruption because all the corruption brings less money for our hospitals, less money for our education, and we need this money.
If we don't lose the World Cup, we're going to get another Brazil, a new era, and a new era to the country.
Come out onto the streets and join us, they chanted. More and more Brazilians seem to be answering that call. Jason Farrell, Sky News, Rio.